I'm going to tell about an adventure in August of 2017 during my hitchhiking year where I did battle with a raccoon and ran into a very nice gentleman, obviously suffering psychosis. I was in Seattle and I figured out, I when I first got to Seattle, I was with a friend, but then we kind of parted ways amicably. And when I was no longer camping with him, because he was big and strong and I felt very safe, I realized if you ride the ferry, it's an hour ferry ride from Seattle to Bremerton, and I remember it was $8.50 for me to ride it. It was safer to sleep in Bremerton and free to ride the ferry back in the morning so I could get back to Seattle and busk for the day. I had a really nice busking spot just above I'd say above because everything in Seattle is on a hill, just above the Pike Place Market. In the Pike Place Market, you had to have a permit to busk, and if I had enough money for a permit, I wouldn't need to busk. So, sorry, my nose itches. So, I found a good spot where I made pretty good money up there. I mean, for busking, enough to eat. So, I would busk up the $8.50 and ride the ferry and go sleep in Bremerton. And it was probably my first night there, I would think, but maybe not. I arrived at the ferry terminal, and very quickly I ran across a young guy on a bicycle and asked him, as a local, where's advice for stealth camping for the night. And he recommended to me that I follow the waterfront, go across the Manette Street Bridge, and then go to the left, right on the beach. And if I walk, I don't know, quarter mile or more, I don't remember, but I don't know. It's been a long time. Walk a ways. There is an inlet there and a big ravine, and I could tuck back in there and nobody would bother me. So that's exactly what I did. I walked back there with my MIGs and my guitar and my backpack. MIGs was my little chihuahua. It's a beautiful spot when I get back there, just perfect. Didn't have enough water on me, but I was trying to conserve what little bit I had. That was a situation I was in for the night. I remember, you could see where the tide on the Puget Sound was going to come up, and so I built a little sand divot for me and Migs to get cozy down in, and I knew the water wouldn't come up that far. And we were getting cozy, and then it's pitch night. And then this giant raccoon, I start hearing noise because there was garbage kind of on the other side of the little creek. This giant raccoon was wrestling around in the garbage and rumbling around, and then he notices us. He was not afraid. Miggs was cowering. He came right over to us, within feet of us. I scream at him. I shine my flashlight right in his eyes. Get out of here! He didn't care. He didn't care. He was circling us. I've never before or since felt fear of a raccoon, but I did of this guy. What has he got? Is he rabid? Is he going to launch at the dog? Is Miggs going to launch at him and start a fight? Here's my issue. It was nighttime and the tide had come up. So where I was for the night. So my only option was to pack up and get out of there. I had to wade out. What I did is my backpack, this is before I had that silly stroller, but just before. My backpack was just on the verge of breaking at this point. I have that on the back of me, and I would carry the guitar around the front of me. And I would turn it sideways so it was like a platform. So this is before I used to ride Miggs in my shirt. This is how she would ride. I'd set her on top of the guitar. And in the dark, all I had is a flashlight, but fortunately it was a bit of an urban area, so there was some kind of ambient light. But I remember the water looked pitch dark to my feet. I could not see how deep it was. And I had to wade out of there the whole way back to the bridge. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to give up for the night. And I would have to do this sometimes when I was traveling, especially in the city area. Just give up on sleep for the night, wander around until daylight, and then find some safer sleep because it's daylight in a park or something. The only way I knew to go, and I did need water, was back where I came from. So I followed the waterfront back to Harborside Fountain Park, near the fair, right there with the ferry terminal. And I was just sitting at a table, waiting for dawn so I could put my sleeping bag down and get some sleep. And a gentleman walked up to me who showed me that he was wearing an amulet and that he controlled the things around him. And most of all, he was a protector of women. So as long as he was there, I was safe, he assured me. He talked for a little while. I remember a seagull flying over, and I thought, oh, it must be getting close to dawn because it was still dark out. He's like, you see that? I just did that. I asked that bird to fly over. So I was polite, and glad he didn't want to engage me for terribly long because I didn't know how much protecting of women he wanted to do. So it was a pleasant exchange. And then dawn did come, and it was August. It was really hot, but I managed to get some sleep until the sun started cooking me. And I guess that's kind of an anticlimactic ending, but that was my night in Bremerton doing battle with a raccoon and meeting a nice gentleman in a psychosis. So that's another story for you guys.